Welcome back to Bob's Magic Emporium. In the next video of the 365-day Magic Challenge, today we have a really cool teacher trick. I kind of, somewhat did this one already, but it's a new handling for it. And this is the same one I did when I did the collab with Penguin Man back about, 2.5 months ago, something like that. But this is really cool. So it's the same kind of trick, just different handling. I call this one Casino Night. So kind of cool. We're going to play 3 different casino games. We're going to start with a little game, a little spin of the roulette wheel. We are going to next move on to craps. We're going to roll some dice. And then finally a game of somewhat kind of poker-ish game with like cutting to hide card kind of thing like that. Alright, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to write some predictions down after we do each event. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down what number I think this little ball is going to land on when it stops spinning in the roulette wheel. Now, there's 36 black and red spaces on a roulette wheel. Sometimes you have zeros and double zeros. So there might be 37 or 38 spaces, depending on what style roulette table you're at. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down this prediction. I think I'll use the card box here so I can have something to write on. All right, so I'm going to write this down, and let me see here. I think that should be good. All right. Yep. Something kind of like that. That should be good. All right. So I'm going to fold up my little prediction here, and we will place that right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spin this roulette wheel, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully I can do this just like at the roulette table. All right, I'm going to give this a little spin, and something kind of like that. There we go. And it landed on 32. So I'm going to try to get this in camera here. It landed on number 32. There we go. You can kind of see that. Or if I spin it this way, then you can see it says 32. Looks like a 23. All right, but it did land on 32. So now I'm going to... Now, I've already made my prediction, by the way. So that was for the roulette wheel. So we're going to see what happens. All right, and the number... I'm going to now write down what I think the dice are going to land on. So I'm going to write this down here. What I think the dice are going to equal when we add the two numbers together. This will be kind of interesting. All right. I'm going to go ahead and fold this up. We're going to go ahead and do that. Perfect. And I'll fold this up one more like that. Okay. And I'm going to roll the dice. We're going to see what happens here. We're going to give these dice a little roll. Roll them dice. And let's see. We have a 6 right there. And we have a 4. We have a 6. And we have a 4. So that's a 10. We're going to say it's a 10. Okay. So now I'm going to write down which playing card you're going to cut to. So let me write down which playing card you're going to cut to, like this. All right, I think you're going to cut to that one. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. All right, perfect. That seems good. All right, and I'll place that right there. Yep, that should be good. Okay, that's good. All right. So we are going to cut to a playing card now. We're going to see what playing card. First, I'm going to give these a little shuffle to prove they're not in any order or anything like that. All right, that should be good. Like that. And I'll do one more time here just to prove they're not in any order. It's very important to prove that. Okay. So you're going to cut to a card. We'll say you cut right there. We'll look at that card in just a moment. Now, remember, I made all these predictions before we spun the wheel, rolled the dice, and cut the cards. Let me cap the marker here. Let me recap. The Sharpie, that is. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and show you the card you cut to, and it's the 4 hearts. All right. So I accidentally moved this. So I'm going to move that back into number 32. Whoops, that's 0, 32, right. Geez, right there. Okay, perfect. So we have 32, we have 10, and we have 4. So I'm going to start with the roulette wheel prediction, and let's go and open this up. And remember, I made this before I started the trick. So, oh, look at this. I wrote down 32, and it landed on 32. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and go over here to the dice. So remember, I wrote down 10, or I wrote 10 down, and it was 10 that came up. And finally, the playing card, 4 of hearts, and it is the 4 of hearts. There we go, and they match. That's Casino Night. All right, teacher trick, easy one. I'm going to teach you how to do it. So this is pretty simple. Remember, like I said, I already did this trick kind of, but I'll kind of go over it really fast again. So what you need are 3 pieces of paper. I use Post-it notes. I didn't want to use 3 Post-it notes, so I took 2 of them and ripped them in half and all that. So here's what you're going to do. You need to get a roulette wheel for this. I have one. I know, you can find anything in my house. I have, you need some dice and you need a deck of cards. You don't need to have a roulette wheel. I mean, you could get like a virtual one on a phone. I know there's roulette wheel apps, or there's wheel spinning apps you can get on phones. So you can get a wheel spinning app. You don't have an actual roulette wheel. You know, I'm sure everybody's got dice. Everybody's got board games lying around their house, so you can have dice. Okay. Then you need to force a card on a spectator. I did the 4 hearts. That was just the one that was sitting on top, but you could force any card that's your favorite or whatever. I wouldn't recommend forcing the ace of spades just because people will think, oh, you know, maybe he set that up and chose me to choose that, or maybe he wanted me to choose that one. So I wouldn't go with the 4 or with the ace of spades, but everything else will work for this. I use, normally what I do when I do the trick, if I do it for an audience, I'll use sort of a high card, but not like a court card. But you can use whatever card you want, except for, I wouldn't recommend the ace of spades. All right. So set your force card on top. Now, I said no ace of spades, but for this tutorial, we're just going to say the ace of spades will be the force card in this. All right. Let's see. Ace of spades, ace of spades, ace of spades. No, that's ace of clubs. Okay, I don't see the ace of spades in this deck. Okay, I might have to switch up my force card. Yeah, I don't see it in here, so I think I saw the ace of hearts in here, so we'll use the ace of hearts. All right, but it'd be any force card you want. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to talk about, you have these objects. Now, you need to, I say we're going to do a little game, a little casino playing here because that brings in the roulette wheel. It's weird to have a roulette wheel in your act, if you're in your show, if you're not it's just weird. It's not a normal prop you have in a magic show. So you got to kind of have some justification for using the roulette wheel. Dice, people do use dice in a magic show, but roulette wheels, people usually don't. So you got to have some kind of justification. That's why I say, oh, we're going to do some casino games. That's why I have the roulette wheel. All right. So what you're first going to do is you're going to talk about, I'm going to make my predictions. You start first with the roulette wheel, and you say, we're going to spin the roulette wheel, drop the ball in there, and it's going to land on a number just like at a roulette table, and that's going to be the number we're going to be stuck with. So you're going to talk about how you make the prediction for the roulette wheel first. But in all honesty, you write down the force card first on the first slip of paper. So you're going to talk about, okay, we're going to get the roulette wheel prediction. I'm going to write down what I think, what space the ball is going to stop on. So write down, and you can do a joke about, oh, I got to be careful. This is a sharp E, you know, because it's sharp E, whatever. You can do a Sharpie joke if you want in there. So you're going to hide your prediction from the audience. You're not going to let your audience see this. So you're going to kind of hide it from view. And you're going to write down whatever your force card is. Remember, mine's the ace of hearts, but you can use any card that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and you're going to write down the force card. I'll do this in plain view. So you just write down ace, and then you can write down heart. You could say A, H, or draw a heart, whatever you want to do. All right, so then you draw that force card, and you make sure that you take it so that they can't see it. Because if you just fold it over once, they may see the outline of the heart. So make sure you fold it over enough times to where it's a small little piece of paper, and then you place it right here. Make sure to keep it in plain view so people don't think you do something funny like switch out the predictions for pre-written ones or something like that, because they may think that. So keep this in plain view the whole time. And then you take the roulette wheel and you give it a spin and you drop the ball in there. Whoops. Like that. Some at the roulette table, they also take the ball and they start it up here and they kind of spin it around like that. You can do that as well. So anyways, where it stops on, that's going to be your number. So I'm going to bring this out here because my roulette wheel comes out. It stopped on 3. So now the second prediction, you're going to say, okay, so it stopped on 3. Now I'm going to write down what I think, after you throw the dice, what they're going to land on. So you're going to have the spectator roll the dice after you make your prediction. And in this one, you're just writing down your roulette prediction. So you're writing down whatever the ball stopped on the roulette wheel. This one happened to be 3. So you write this down and you put 3 on this piece of paper. Even though you tell your audience you're going to write down the dice prediction. So I'm just going to write down 3. So you write down a 3. And fold that up again so they can't see what is the prediction. Because if it stops on like a 0 or a 1, and you only have one number, and you're using 2 dice, there's no way, if they see it, the audience is going to know something's up. So fold that up. Again, keep that in plain view after you've made your prediction. And say, okay, prediction's been made, now go ahead and roll the dice. So your audience will roll the dice. You can use 1 die if you want. I like using 2. Roll the dice, and it landed on a 6 and a 1, which gives us 7. 6 and 1 gives us 7. So now you tell your audience that you're going to write down the playing card they're going to cut to. But in this prediction, you're writing down 7, or whatever the dice happen to land on after they rolled them. So you're going to write down a 7, just like that. And fold this up again real small. Again, don't draw this in plain view. Make sure that you hide it in your hand and then you fold it up so they can't see it. Okay. So now this stays in plain view as well. So now what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle up these cards. You can do a riffle shuffle. Just keep your force card on the top of the deck and keep it at the top. So you're going to force this card on a spectator. So keep this card at the top. You give it a riffle shuffle. I'll go over the riffle shuffle really fast. All you do is you cut the cards in half. Remember which half is the top half. So this would be the top half right here. So there's the top half. This goes in your right hand. Left hand goes the bottom half. You start with your thumb, just thumb off the bottom like this, a few cards, then thumb off the right side a little bit, a few cards over here. Keep doing that until the deck is exhausted. You want to make sure that when you end up with one card in each hand, you drop the one on the left first, then the one on the right. Notice the one on the right is the Ace of Hearts. You drop that, and that keeps the Ace of Hearts right on top. And then if you do this up to speed and don't do it slow, it looks very good. It looks like you are really shuffling those cards, but you know you're keeping the ace right on top. Another way to do this is you could have the ace on the bottom, and then you could just go like this, and you could just, till the deck is exhausted, and then your ace will end up on top at the end. Anyway, so you have the ace on top. It stays on top. You control it to the top, or you keep it on top, or whatever. Then you cut the cards into two piles. Remember which pile is your top half. That's important for this force of the cards, because this is called the cross-cut force. So you take this and you cut the cards into two piles like that. They don't have to be even, and you want your spectator to cut the cards too. You don't cut the cards, let them cut the cards. And then this is the original top half that has the ace on top. All you do is take the original bottom half and say, we're going to mark where you've cut, just like this. Now, if you really were marking where they were cutting, you would take the original top half and mark this side. But you mark this side, the original top half. You basically are marking the top card. Now, you don't just go right into it and you don't just do this. You don't go, okay, we're going to mark where you've cut, so let's take a look at the card. Because the audience, there's not enough time, as we call it in magic, misdirection. Misdirection is where the magic's happening somewhere else, but you're getting your audience to focus their attention in another spot. So normally what I do is do the cross-cut force. I put that right on top. That's why it looks like a cross, hence the name cross-cut force. Put the card on top and you say, okay, so I made all my predictions. I made the roulette wheel before you spun it. I made the dice prediction before you rolled them. And then I made the card before you cut to it. Now, for the first time, let's see your card. And if you say that, that gives your audience enough time misdirection to where they don't remember what's been going on with these cards, what just happened with these cards. There's enough time misdirection where they forget. So you take the top half of the deck off, you have them look at this card, and because you've already written down what they think is your prediction for the card, you then can say, it's all right if I see the card. All right, Ace of Hearts. Now we're going to see if I'm right. So you got to also remember which ones are which, because I like to start off with the roulette wheel. I like to go in order as we did the thing. So the roulette wheel would be this one over here. It would be this guy. So, no, I'm sorry, it's the guy in the middle. Normally what I do, though, is I do some talking to the audience, some byplay with the audience as I mix these up. And all I'm doing is your middle one is the roulette wheel. So I'm just moving this one over to the left, my left, and then taking the one that was on the left, moving it all the way over to the right, and this one goes in the center. That way, you have your roulette wheel, your craps prediction, and then your poker prediction on this side. And then I'm talking to the audience as I'm doing that casually, nonchalantly, so that the audience doesn't think I'm doing anything funny. And then, you know, after done talking to them, they don't even know what happens because you do it so casually. All right, so then you say, okay, so you rolled, I think I moved that, but whatever it was on the roulette wheel. So you rolled that. Let's go and open this up and see what it is. And it's 3. All right, so you rolled a 3, and look, I wrote down 3. That's pretty cool. Really act it up at this point. Really do a lot of acting like this is your first time doing this trick. You want to be like, let's see what I put down. It's a 3. That's pretty cool. Now, any amateur can, and you can say something like any amateur can get 1 right. Let's go for 2. And then you say, this is my craps prediction. Let's go ahead and see. You rolled a 7, and I wrote down a 7. Look at that. And then finally, you cut to the Ace of Hearts, and I wrote down Ace of Hearts. Look at that. And that is the casino, I forgot what I call this now. Casino Night. Casino Night. So that's a great little thing. It's exactly like the one I did before with the book, the color, and the number, or whatever it was. So this is basically the same way, but I do like this version a lot too. And that doesn't fit everyone's style of performing, because if you don't do a lot of like poker, casino style magic, or talk about casinos in your act, it doesn't really fit in. But you could use this principle in other routines. Like you could do this, like I say, with the one before. You can check out that one. I can't remember which day it was in the challenge, but you can definitely check that out when I did the collab with Penguin Man. So you can check that out, and there's a way to do that with like a book, color, and a number. So you could do that as well. So it's a really kind of neat little thing to do, and it's kind of cool because, you know, it looks like you've done some mentalism, but really, it's all a trick. So it's a really great little trick. That's Casino Night. Hope you enjoyed the teacher trick, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next Magic Challenge video.